mass debater here. I want to talk about a sensitive subject, well, sensitive with some of you. I'm going to talk about the Constitution and some of you so-called constitutionalists. I have to give you a history lesson. It's kind of ironic when I have to do that, but I guess that's how it goes. You see, many of you say that we were free back in 1776 and that the government has too much power now. Do you realize that the Constitution wasn't written until 1787? So there really weren't necessarily any laws. No laws stringing together the 13 states. We practically weren't even free until 1781, when the Revolutionary War ended. Do you realize that the Founding Fathers could have been found guilty of treason by the British had they lost the war? Yeah, what kind of stuff is that? That's not necessarily free. The Constitution is a basis for laws in this country, but this country has grown by leaps and bounds. You can't possibly use a document created 200 plus years ago that's only had 17 small additions since to solve all of today's problems. People try to paint colonial America in a positive light. America was a land of poor, social misfits, and criminals, kind of like Australia. If you don't know that, you need to read your history books. As far as voting was concerned, mainly white landowners could vote, though such a restriction, the landowning restriction that is, was hard to enforce. Do you realize that women couldn't vote until Wyoming granted them suffrage in 1876? So again, if you think that we all were free in 1776, you're crazy. Women's suffrage was guaranteed nationally in 1920. Utah was the last state to give Native Americans the right to vote. This was also in the 20th century. What kind of freedom denies suffrage to the heaping majority of the people there? And they also denied citizenship to most of the people in the U.S. And also, we run into an issue, as I mentioned earlier, of using a mere law document as the end-all be-all. Scholars of law know that documents and law mean nothing without enforcement and interpretation. For instance, no provision in the Declaration of Independence or the Constitution was made concerning race. The use of scare tactics and other schemes, particularly in the South, prevented race from being a factor all the way up until the 1960s. First of all, socialism didn't exist back in the 1780s. Quote-unquote socialistic ventures such as public libraries, roads, and utilities existed before Americans' rise as a peak superpower. So spare me the drivel that public policies being the downfall of America. But again, I digress. The suffrage was determined by individual states. So really, the Constitution, anything it said about voting, really was annihilated because the states had all the power. The states decided, and really locally, it was decided who was to vote or not. Well, if you want to fight for more freedom nowadays, you can always try to give high school students the right to vote. And don't even get me started on the desecration of the Constitution by the Bush administration. No true 1776 patriot conservative could have allowed that to happen without getting angry. So if you want to talk about Obama and how he's raping the Constitution, talk about Bush as well. Patrick Henry had the phrase, "Give me liberty or give me death." Were that actually to happen back then in 1770s? Most Americans would have dropped dead on the spot. Now, I'm patriotic and I love my country. I just want to speak the truth about it. That's what a true patriot does. This country was founded on the principle that you can speak your mind about a country, negative or positive. And that's exactly what I'm doing. I love my country. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies. Anyway, we've come a long way from the 1770s, and we're a strong country, and we'll be strong in the years to come. Learn from our past, and don't necessarily make it the prototype for the future. I'm out. Why do I wear this mask? Because the truth is scary.